How's it going, gamers? Chongo here, and today I've got a gameplay commentary for you guys. The gameplay is of Cube World, and if you've seen my previous video, you'll realize now I have played a little bit more. I've got a horse as a pet now, and it's a real fun game. I'll have a link in the description to go and buy it if you're interested in it, as well as my first impressions video. I'll have a link to that. But the commentary topic doesn't really have anything to do with Cube World. It's about Microsoft and giving information to the NSA, so let's get into it. So I heard this story a couple of days ago, and it was basically about Microsoft giving information to the NSA, and this includes emails that are unencrypted, as well as Skype calls, video, and in contents of SkyDrive. So basically any data you've got stored on there, it's basically just a cloud service. Now, this is obviously not very good, and it's coming off bad on Microsoft, but what people need to realize is the government wouldn't have given Microsoft an answer to say no to this. They would have had to have said yes, because it's a legal reason, and you can't say no to the government when they request information for something like that. So there wasn't really anything on Microsoft's part they could do to stop this. They can't really say, no, we're not giving you that information, and then the government could shut them down, and there'd just be a lot of problems for them in the long run. So they were kind of screwed either way. They really had to go with it and hope that consumers didn't find out that this information was being taken by the government, because when you see those things where it says information like that is stored will obviously be given to the government, if requested, they don't really expect the government to be, intercepting as much as what the American government has been seen to do in recent months. Now, this sort of affects me because I do use Hotmail as well as Skype when I talk to my friends and stuff, so I've always been kind of cautious with what I put on the internet, especially when it comes to text, because that can be taken anywhere, but I didn't really think they'd be hitting Skype as hard as they have been, so it turns out calls could be intercepted. So this is kind of worrying to me. Not that I really talk about anything that I would need to be afraid of the government in my Skype calls. It just kind of feels a bit like someone could be taking that information or out of context, or just taking anything that I've said in a Skype call, which is kind of worrying. Now, I hate the whole saying is if you have nothing to hide, you shouldn't worry about this kind of thing, when for me it's not that. It's more about the things that I say could be taken by other people, and also it could be an issue of intellectual property. So if I'm talking on Skype with a friend and I come up with an idea for some business or something, and I talk to him about it, and then all of a sudden Microsoft somehow launches this thing, or the government launches some program for what I've talked about in Skype, who's responsible there? Do they have the right to take information they've heard about because I was using their service, or is that against their services? That's the thing where it gets for me, because like I said before, I don't really talk about anything too private, or I'm not too worried about on Skype if other people hear about it, but it just doesn't seem like there'd be proper mechanisms in place to stop that yet, so I'm not sure if Microsoft has the right to listen to that information and take it. So it's kind of worrying, and obviously some people, if you use Skype for business meetings, there would be privacy concerns there, whether the government is listening into your business meetings and taking information out of that. And this is also another reason why people are more annoyed with the Xbox One coming with the Kinect, because even though you can, I'm not 100% sure if you can unplug it, but you can have your console offline. I know that now since they've changed their policies, but that doesn't really matter because that information could be uploaded later when the internet connection is connected up. So that kind of stuff is worrying, just because even though Microsoft has said they're not storing that information, I mean, I wouldn't have thought Skype calls would be stored, but apparently they have been. So it's kind of worrying, and that's why I think so many people were kind of pissed off with Kinect, and not only that, just for paying for more money for a device that could be used in your living room to spy on you. So it's kind of got people worried, and I completely understand why people are going against Xbox One because of the Kinect thing, and it's just really bad timing. Whereas if they'd announced this a couple of years ago, I don't see Kinect being as big a problem as it is now, just because of all this NSA and all this kind of problems. People are more worried about it. Also, this kind of stuff coming out of the USA might force people to use non-American services, like maybe some non-American voice over chats and that kind of thing, so that people can't track what you're saying. I'm not really sure how much or how easy it would be for the USA to still get that information if you're using, say, for example, a voice over chat service made in Australia, whether they'd be able to intercept that information. I think it would probably be a lot harder for them, but obviously that's ignoring the fact that different countries obviously have different policies on spying with people, and for all I know, Australia could have the same things in place like the NSA. Anyway, this brings me into my commentary. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, and if you've got any comments about this, put it down below, and if you want to join the Gamerhood, just subscribe. Anyway, I'll see you guys next time.